These high school boys and girls are having a hop at the local soda fountain. Innocently, they dance. Innocent of a new and deadly menace lurking behind closed doors. Marijuana, the burning weed with its roots in hell. In this film, you will see the ease with which this vicious plant can be grown in your neighbor's yard, rolled into harmless-looking cigarettes, hidden in an innocent shoe or watch case. In this startling film, you will see dopesters lure children to destruction.
We're going over to Joe's place. Why don't you come along?
We have a date to play a set of doubles.
Oh, you can play anytime. Come on, we'll have some laughs.
Can I go along with you?
Sure.
Hey, I'll see you at dinner, sis.
If you want a good smoke, try one of these.
You will meet Bill, who once took pride in his strong will as he takes the first step toward enslavement.
Of course, if you're afraid.
Smoking the soul-destroying reefer, they find a moment's pleasure, but at a terrible price. Debauchery, violence, murder, suicide. And the ultimate end of the marijuana addict. Hopeless insanity. See this important film now, before it is too late.
Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening.
Good evening. Well, you sound like you're from the subcontinent then.
That was the point.
Which country?
I don't know. India.
India. The subcontinent.
Now that you mention it, it did definitely have like an Indian twinge on it.
It did. I believed
funny.
everything in that video
Same.
anyway.
And
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, good evening.
How's everyone doing?
I turned the audio off. I didn't want to get propaganda in
You want to get brainwashed.
That was the
Yeah,
trailer for Reefer Madness. In case anybody wants to know, it is available on YouTube and it is worth a watch.
When's it coming out to the cinema?
1936.
Simon said there's no audio. Is that on the intro?
We've got audio coming out, haven't we?
Yeah, I thought there was.
Yeah. I know he's. I think he's done some at his end. But yeah, good evening.
Your, speakers up,
Evening,
Simon.
yeah. Evening, Nick. Evening, Si. Evening, Godders.
Evening all, evening all.
We're
Yeah, everyone else.
obviously live for another edition of the lockdown podcast through the trapdoor. We're going to be talking about drugs, I think, aren't
Bit
we?
of drugs, bit of crime.
Well, we was like at odds, weren't we, last week as what to do, because we did the conspiracy podcast, and if you hadn't seen it, go and check that out tomorrow. And then afterwards, we were like, what should we talk about next week? So we threw a few ideas out, and we thought, yeah, we'd just talk about like drugs and that. But as with any podcast, we'll start with the listeners' questions, innit? So should we do the non-substance related questions first?
Yeah, if you want.
Go on then.
Why not?
So, Mark Blebinson of Sitting Pretty fame has asked, have we seen Puddle of Mud, the Nirvana cover? Have you guys seen that? I watched it because he basically said, have I seen it? So I went to have a look at it, and it was pretty fucking horrendous. Which brings me on to my first talking point, really, in terms of this segment, yeah? Are you not getting sick of all these celebrity videos where they do like a Zoom call and then fucking massacre a song? Or often it's already a shit song as well, like a Foo Fighters song. It's fucking annoying, isn't it?
That one.
Yeah, man.
The worst one I've seen.
But it's like that.
No, go on.
Go on, you go
The
first.
worst one I've seen is the what's the girl from Wonder Woman?
don't know.
You know the actress that plays
Claire
do you mean?
Jones.
No,
Claire
no,
Jones.
the new one.
Sandra Bullock.
No, the new girl.
I didn't know they'd done a new one.
Yeah, it came out
Miley
like last year or
Cyrus?
year before. Anyway, they did.
Debbie Harry.
No, it wasn't Debbie Harry. They did an a cappella version
Linda Lasardi.
of. I'm just going to keep going.
Oh.
I'm just going to keep going.
Go on, go on.
They did an a
Sorry.
cappella version of Imagine by John Lennon, and it's the worst thing you've ever seen.
I heard about that
It's
one.
the worst thing.
Yeah, that's pretty piss poor.
It's just embarrassing.
Yeah.
You can tell they're all like really committing to it. Like, imagine all the people. No musical accompaniment.
Yeah,
It's just
that's the one.
terrible.
Now this band, I've heard of them, but I don't know who they are. But they've got together and they've done a Nirvana cover of some tune, some shit Nirvana tune.
It's
And,
about a girl, isn't
yeah,
it? It's not a shit
fucking
tune. It's a good
horrendous.
tune.
I know.
It's just fucking wank, innit?
Good tune, that.
So yeah, I hadn't seen it until he said, and then I checked it out, and I wish I hadn't. So that's that one done.
You know, it's funny actually. You say that shit and go on about what's the one they've just done, the Foo Fighters one. What is it?
Yeah. Days
it
like
called?
these.
Yeah.
Days like these. Because
yeah.
I saw when they'd done it on the telly, you know, that the children in need happened to switch over, and he said, "Wow, everyone's such a good singer." I was thinking of having singing lessons, and then I thought, yeah, they are all pretty good singers, but there's actually fuck all substance behind a lot of them. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, yeah, you do have a good voice. You know, I'm not saying I particularly like your music, but you have no substance whatsoever.
it's that
do you know
pop
what I
idol
mean?
voice,
Just
isn't it?
nothing.
That-
Yeah, it's just bullshit.
Who sings in that one? Is
Boring.
Repo Man? What's he called? Him that does fucking.
I'm only human.
Yeah, that one. What's he called? Repo Man.
Repo Man.
Repo Man.
Rag and Bone Man.
Rag and Bone Man. It's Repo Man. It's
Gal
coming.
Gadot. That's the one.
Give us your car. No, it's shit, all that stuff. I tell you what, as well, that did me head in last week, that big night in. It's like, oh, children in need and fucking Comic Relief are getting together. You know what does me in about that? All them fucking tax dodging cunts telling people to give money to shit when they've already fucking paid for it in the fucking paycheck every week. Like Gary Barlow and all that. Fucking cunts, aren't they? Fucking cunts. Anyway.
What do you mean they've already paid for it?
No, I mean, like...
I know they're cunts for asking poor people to help poor people by giving them the last of their fucking silver or whatever.
Yeah, but this wasn't for the poor people. This is for the NHS. Like, what I'm saying is people have already contributed to that by fucking paying tax, innit? Unlike Gary Barlow.
Okay.
He's a cunt. But I'd love to work with Gary Barlow one day. If you're watching, Gary, give us a call. And then we got another non-substance related question from Deb, presumably the Deb that tunes in to watch us. She just sent this screenshot. I'll just quote it. It says, "Today we look back at the Romans and wonder why they were so foolish as to use lead utensils for cooking, resulting in lead poisoning. Will the people of the 23rd century look back at us with the same incredulity for our rampant and unregulated..." Mate, fuck off with your bullshit. "For our rampant and unregulated use of these digital technologies." And then that wasn't her that put that. That was like a quote out of a book. She's just said, what do you think to this kind of thing?
Yeah, there's going to be loads, but what the fuck do you do when you just... People are selling shit and it's been tested for all this bullshit, this and that. And you're like, yeah, it's been tested by the British standards on it. It should be all right. Find out it's made in China and it's got a load of lead in it.
Yeah, but it's kind of the same as like going, like it's shit of the fucking Victorians for using coal to power their ships, and like technology moves on, doesn't it? So I don't know. It's not the same as using lead pipes for plumbing and drinking water.
It happens loads though, doesn't it? It happens with smoking as well. Do you know what I mean? Smoking's good.
Yeah,
Smoking. If you smoke, you get chicks.
Doctors use Camel cigarettes.
Yeah, you become a cowboy and look rather cool.
I don't know.
Well, I don't know. It's hindsight's an easy thing, innit? So they probably will look back on certain aspects of it and go, "Yeah, 5G was mad. It gave everyone coronavirus." But fucking.
Not the Scousers.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Scousers burnt their towers down.
There's gonna be. Yeah. Well, there's definitely going to be some shit like that, which reminds me, actually, it seems as though we're doing a substance edition. Has anyone tried the new drug on the streets, injecting bleach?
Not yet.
Or,
Not yet.
You
I
know what
bought
I mean?
some.
Getting a bit of it.
They've already done it. Someone has, haven't
Apparently,
they?
there's been
Getting
quite
the
a few
devil
in
on
there
it.
in New York.
What, doing
Yeah,
it?
that's what I
Fuck
heard.
off.
People
Yeah.
injected it.
Yeah.
What? People do that shit to fucking commit suicide, don't they?
I don't know.
Oh, fucking horrendous way to die, isn't it?
And so
I
has
don't
it
know,
mashed
is-
up the
how-
people that have done it?
What happens when you inject bleach then?
Your fucking organs start shutting
Is
down
it organ
man, it
failure? is
very
it?
slowly. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's been cases where people have had it in drugs by mistake. and
Yeah,
stuff
I
like that.
watched this program there once, and this lad went to a pub, obviously with his family, and he had a bottle of orange juice or lemonade. It was in a bottle, but the bottle was one of them that had been sitting there for fucking ages, and it was full of bleach, and he swigged it back in one.
Oh,
No way.
yeah, but I can
And
understand that.
he survived, but only fucking
But
just like it was proper.
That's
luck.
ingesting it though, isn't
Was
it?
it?
Fucking
Did it-
idiots, man.
That's
Did it quench his thirst?
that's swallowing it though, isn't it? That's drinking it. What's the
Yeah, I
difference
know.
if you inject it?
Yeah,
Is it-
straight into
quicker.
your bloodstream isn't going to
Yeah.
fucking do you
No,
any
but I
good,
mean,
is
it, no, but I mean, are you gonna? Is it gonna be
You
a
come-
heart
you
attack
come
or
up
something?
quicker.
or- yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's a deeper
Um,
high.
I don't know. I think it'll just fuck your organs. up.
Yeah,
But
Yeah,
that's-
Nick said they put it in crank in Russia.
crank.
Yeah, I've heard that they put it.
Yeah, I
in
watched the
shit.
documentary on that shit before, man. Fucking, that looks fucked
Mm.
up.
The of those people that have done it, that have taken Donald Trump's advice in America, because I did wonder this today whether or not someone would actually do it. Yeah, are they still alive or what have they
Oh,
done?
they died.
Don't
The
know.
ones I saw.
They've
The
died.
ones I saw, someone
How-
died from it.
How the fuck has he got away with that?
Well, to be fair though, if you watch it, I mean, what do you think? Do you think he was being serious, or do you think he was joking? Because they say the White House is saying now, and he's been tweeting out that he was being sarcastic. He didn't really come off. I don't think he was being 100%.
He's not very good at sarcasm,
Yeah,
then, is
I
he?
don't think he was being
Yeah.
100% serious. But it's
Don't
not
know.
obvious sarcasm, is it?
No.
But he says things like when this flu thing was happening, yeah, he said,
Which one?
oh yeah, there's still a coronavirus
The
is
one
going
we're in
on.
now.
Yeah, this one, yeah. He was like, oh, and I didn't realise that people still die of the normal flu. You just need to get on that as well. It's like, I don't think he was joking me with
No,
that bleach
I don't
thing.
know.
I think he was being serious, mate.
At the end of the day, who listens to I wouldn't listen to Boris going, if you inject bleach, it'll cure coronavirus. I wouldn't then go and inject bleach just because Boris said so. You got to be a fucking idiot to think like the president of the United States is going to be able to give you sound medical advice.
Well,
Yeah.
I think that's the point, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like
Do you know what I mean?
at a certain,
Like, it's pretty mental.
it's sad and all that. But what kind of fucking idiot injects bleach into themselves and thinks they're going to be fine at the end of it? You know what I mean?
But you're talking about a country where they're fucking attacking nurses and doctors because they don't want a lockdown. So it's
Are
a
they?
bit. I don't know. Yeah, there've been doctors who have been standing out with placards on the days off or on the breaks. Have been getting fucking hassled and harangued by fucking like people who are fucking pissed off because they don't want lockdown and they want to get back to it, and they've been calling the doctors and the nurses traitors.
So what
I've seen video footage of it, so it must
what
be
were
true.
the doctors doing?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Reefer madness.
What are the doctors are standing outside with placards?
Yeah, saying like that they're not getting enough support and like
Oh, okay.
whistleblowing
Alright.
almost, and they're getting like confronted by people who want America reopened and all that, and it's all come from the White House because they're demonizing the doctors if they speak out, so they're now
Yeah.
being portrayed as traitors.
Well, they're
You
doing
seen
that
on
in
the
this
news,
country as well, though, aren't they? With it, just that.
Yeah. Have you seen? I know it's diverging away from substance abuse.
Yeah, go on.
But just a quick about the coronavirus, and it's in kids now with like
Yeah,
a what's it called when it changes?
Mutation?
A fucking
mutation.
mutation, yeah, some
Yeah,
sort of
seen that
mutation like septis. But then I was watching Channel 4 News, and you know what they're like. They were saying it's a mutation, and some of the kids.
I don't know.
Go on, get us online.
I'm trying.
Are you tethering or are you just on regular?
My internet came back on. I don't know what the fuck's going on. I think we're back.
Are we back? Oh, we are, but I've disappeared. Yeah. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
There we
go. We are. I don't know what
so where were
there.
We were talking about coronavirus, weren't we?
Yeah, and kids. And the kids.
Let me just post a link while that's cool. Yeah, we looked into it, and apparently there's a link with another disease like Kawasaki disease or something.
Kawasaki.
So I don't know, but it's scary, that, isn't it? Being
Kawasaki
a parent,
disease.
thinking all that, man. Kawasaki or something, or Kawasaki, I don't know.
Honda disease.
It's a real thing, I think. I didn't look into it because I didn't want to just scare myself.
Yeah, I know.
Because it'd just be like fucking building a bunker. I'll go build a bunker in the garden, innit? You know what I mean? So it's fucking, yeah. We'll do the rest of the questions. So we've got a question. Got a couple of questions from Godders. Yeah. We're going to talk about some of these in more detail later. So I'll start with this one, yeah. Did Ecstasy make Rave popular, or was it the other way around? Did Rave make Ecstasy popular? What do you reckon?
Oh, it's a combination of both, isn't it?
Yeah.
It weren't Rave though at the time, was it? It was Acid, beginning of Acid House, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But it was more like house music, wasn't it, first?
Yeah,
yeah, Acid House, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but House came before Acid House, didn't it?
Well, I guess so, but it's a combination of disco and sounds from America, like Detroit sounds and stuff like that. So Chicago house, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's probably the original house music.
I suppose it started with disco, then rave. You know what I mean? It's just a mutation from rave culture, from disco, isn't it?
Yeah,
dance music, a DJ rather than a band.
Did you know Jimmy Savile came up with?
Yeah, he did. He originated it.
He had 2 spinning decks.
Yeah, he was the first person to do 2 decks with his PA system, innit? It's fucking.
Anyway, back to I digress. Fucking, I don't know. It's a combination of both, isn't it?
Yeah, I
or
think
would it have been? It wouldn't have been as popular though without Ecstasy, would it? Really?
Yeah,
I don't know, because it was pretty popular at the time. Like it was Acid and Ecstasy, innit? That were the 2 big things. So,
but mate, when I used to go to the clubs and that, when I used to go to a club,
talking a long time ago.
If I couldn't get, if I couldn't get any speed, it would have been shit.
Yeah, of course. You're not going
to. It wouldn't have been. Do you know what I mean?
Wouldn't. I think
I like the pink speed, and that used to give me the rushes and all that. Do you know what I mean? And but if I couldn't have got that, I mean, one night we went there, it weren't there, and we actually left the club, went somewhere else, got something, and come back.
I think the first part of it, I think the drugs made the music, because then it spills into the culture, doesn't it? I don't think if everyone was like pissed out their heads, they would have had the same vibe or appreciation for the music, because everyone would have wanted to fight each other, innit? Yeah. So and then it just kind of spilled out into other aspects. I think now people buzz off the music regardless, don't they? But probably only in terms of nostalgia. So probably wouldn't have that without the drug culture, I guess.
What was your drug of choice back in the day?
Coffee.
Shut up. Come on, stop sitting on the fence there. He's fence sitting again. You're
back on the fence, mate.
I've never done drugs. Just have very strong opinionated views on them.
Yeah.
Don't know. Just whatever, innit? Don't know. We'll talk about it in a bit. The other question was from Godders, and we are going to talk about this again in more detail, yeah? Did Big Pharma make weed illegal so we couldn't grow our own medicine?
I think that's a Are you talking about in the States?
That was more. I heard it. Sorry, go on.
Are you talking about in America?
Yeah,
I think.
yeah, that was from the cotton industry more, wasn't it,
was
as
more
well?
paper.
Yeah, I heard that.
Wasn't it the paper
Yeah.
industry?
The cotton industry didn't, or whatever, something to do with because
It's to do with hemp and all that as well, isn't it? And
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Well, I mean, you're looking at a different time
They
as well. I mean, it was
outlawed
a
it.
very racist period of time in the States in particular, but the world all over. And a lot of the reasons for prohibition in the States seem to be like the Mexicans. You know what I mean? And
the Mexicans.
Yeah, honestly,
if you the fucking Mexicans, it's the
if
Mexicans.
you look into it, all of the
Build the wall.
No, I'm not. I mean, I don't. It's a long time ago. It was like fucking 1920s, 1930s. But it's like,
Coxie don't like
no,
Mexicans.
I hate them. Fucking love them. I love enchiladas. What's not to like? It stems from that, really, like Jim Crow and heroin and stuff is black musicians and stuff like that. Jazz. So it's kind of.
I seen it.
Go on.
Go on.
I was
Now
gonna
you
say,
go.
So it's
You
kind
go.
of. I'm almost certain that's why it's not legal now. Big Pharma. You know what I mean? Because look at all the epilepsy and stuff like that that marijuana.
Yeah, but it is now, isn't it?
It is though in
growing, yeah,
America.
it's growing
in
but
quite a
not
lot of
yeah.
states.
over here and not in lots of Europe. You know what I mean? That's because there's lots of money to be made from
I think
drugs.
I seen a thing that said that one of the main reason was to do with textile industries because it was cheaper than cotton and more like it was something it was threatening that industry. So that was one of the main reasons why they outlawed it to start with. So I don't know. It's like there's definitely a part to play in those realms in terms of like big pharma making it difficult for legalization, because then when it does get legalized, they're the ones who are getting the permits, aren't they? And then all the growers who have done it illegally. There's a good documentary actually on Netflix called Murder Mountain about it.
Yeah, it's good.
They can't afford the permits, and when they do, it's just like they're not in a position to grow in a way that can keep up with the regulations and how much money they need to put in. So I reckon big pharma, big pharma is an interesting term. Just rule makers, policy makers, definitely got a hand in it in terms of like making weed illegal, because there's no real reason as to why it should be illegal. Really,
I want to know the fuck the big pharma is. Is that like the Jolly Green Giant or something? Do you know what I mean?
It's like
Just the big
it's the
pharma.
Illuminati for drugs, isn't it?
It's like
yeah.
DuPont, isn't it? Isn't it the DuPont family and stuff like that in the States?
Yeah. In the
Chemicals and shit.
it's the collective global pharmaceutical industry.
Yeah,
So
I know. I was joking.
Him that bought Wu-Tang Clan album for like $1 million and then got locked up.
Yeah, that's a weird story. We should do
so-
something more on that bloke at some point.
What was his
I can't
name again?
remember,
What
but
was he called
it's,
again?
It's a really long and complex story.
I can't remember why he got locked up, but maybe he just got too powerful.
Yeah, and then he
God
got
knows.
accused of not paying his staff and stuff, didn't he? But when you look into it, it wasn't that simple. Can't remember now.
It's a bit like him, innit? Edward Snowden.
Yeah, a little bit, I suppose. He's a whistleblower.
I don't know who the fuck you're on
Hey,
about.
you know the bloke that bought that Wu-Tang album? He just bought it so no one else can listen to it apart from him.
They only made one copy and they put it out on the market and just open bidding, and I think someone paid over £1 million for it. No one's ever heard it other than him, I think, and Wu-Tang.
Probably their best stuff, isn't it?
Really?
Oh, it's like that fucking secret track on the Stone Roses or something.
Yeah.
Might be a pile of shit.
I know, it might be amazing. Maybe he's going to put it out and make some cash. Don't know. But yeah, he's a big farmer, so I can't remember his name now. They reckon he was sitting on a cure for one of the major cancers, and he wouldn't put it out because there wasn't enough money to be made on it or something. But yeah, that's those questions. But I guess that segues us into the first section of the program, innit? So we'll just start with this question. Yeah, should cannabis be legalized? Go.
Doug, do you want to start?
I'll start.
You're reading my notes, aren't you, you cheeky bastard?
Who? Me?
Just read it all up.
No, I won't. Should it be legal? Well, for people who are not very well, yeah, definitely. See, my issue is this, right? Because back in the day when I was smoking it, it was just weed. Do you know what I mean? It was just grown organically, I presume, and it was just like the whole plant stripped off even the leaves and seeds, stripped off the stalk or whatever, but compressed, and then you buy, your little baggie or whatever, and that was fine. But then it's like fucking rocket fuel, man. Do you know what I mean? It's like you're taking an acid trip every time you have a few drags. I mean, that can't be fucking good for you, surely. No. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying it should not be legalized, because I think, well, that's another question, but I mean, fucking, it has to be controlled in some way, at least. Yeah, you know what I mean? Fuck me. Particularly with the strengths around those strains, man. They're just like fucking another level kind of. Yeah. Fuck it. It's literally like taking a fucking acid. Do you know what I mean?
They say they reckon.
Yeah,
I don't know. Dave, you go.
No, you go first.
I was going to say, they reckon the reason why links to cannabis and stuff have risen. Sorry, links between cannabis and psychosis have risen because there's more THC in it than there was naturally. So THC is the psychoactive part of it. CBD being non-psycho.
Yeah, but they used to balance the CBD and the THC. It like balances and counteracts each other. I don't know the correct termination, but no, it's just fucking full on THC, isn't it?
It's because of cross-pollination, isn't it, and mutations of strains, and they've just got to a point now where they can just make really potent strains of cannabis, but with legalization,
right? Everyone used to say, everyone has a drink in a fight. You see a fucking a blowhead or whatever. And everyone's chilled, and it's like, nah, not when I'm around delivering Amazon parcels. All the fuckheads are smoking weed. Do you know what I mean? Some of the right dickos. Yeah. Well, I'm not saying everyone is, because I've got mates who smoke it, and they're fine.
My
do you know
mates
what I mean?
Fine. It's just everyone else.
Nah, but with with legalization comes regulation, innit? So you could. You would presumably, so Godfrey said it's like craft beer these days, and in America, that's pretty much how it's gone. Like, it's
and
just
in Amsterdam.
Yeah, of course, there are places close to home where things are legal, innit? So I think legalize it. I just think there's like so many benefits to it that are not being tapped into that just could be fucking utilized by so many different people of different walks of life, not just whether or not you've got mad epilepsy and it fucking sorts you out. Because there's that case of that kid, innit? They took him to Amsterdam and fucking gave him some weed therapy, and he was having something like 12 gram miles a day or something ridiculous, and he didn't have any fits, and then he took the UK government to court when they got back to try and get him legal weed, and it's like a really big like legal court battle. Those kind of things.
It's nonsense in itself that we
exactly.
we grow more legal weed here than anywhere else in the planet, I think.
Yeah, no, I was going to say that
like,
as
well. Why can't we at least? I mean, I think you can get it medically here, certain things.
You can,
but it's just like
what the actual plant, I think
you can
get
it
for
the roll and smoke.
Yeah, you can get. Some people can get medical prescribed weed, but there's cases where people were getting it illegally. Yeah. And they decided to get it legally just so they can challenge the system, and they fought to get it legally from the doctor, and it's like costing 3 times as much as it was than when they were getting it off the dealer. So people are getting rinsed, but I guess in some ways they're like the trailblazers to legalization, aren't they? So if they don't do that, then we're not going to enter a stage where it would be legal. I mean, I've never really been big into it. You know what I mean? I was when I was a kid, like when I was like 17, 18, but I never really got into it. But as you get older and you look at the health benefits and maybe just having like, I don't know, like a little cheeky like chocolate brownie with some weed in it to chill you out.
But there ain't going to be no health benefit from having one chocolate brownie every fucking 2 months. That's like doing, I do 10 press-ups every month.
But just getting you don't know that though, because it could just be like more relaxing in it if you just like got a bit mash up every now and then. Do you know what I mean? Like that could be like just meditating in it.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, it might send you off on one, and it a mad trip, and you're like, "Fuck, I ain't doing that again." That fucked me up.
The other thing to think about
Well, that's
though,
good in itself,
is
isn't it?
not just the medical benefits, but it's also the financial benefits. Because you look at states like Colorado and shit in the States, they've made so much money off tax. Obviously, if it was legal, you could VAT the shit out of it. You know what I mean?
Tourism
Yeah,
as well.
but you think of how much money that would free up for the NHS and shit like that. Like the reason why they tax tobacco and alcohol so strongly is like the justification for it is that it goes towards the NHS and public services and like that, isn't it?
Yeah. The problem I've got with it as well, right, is if we legalise it, it'd be down the American route instead of like the Dutch route. Do you know what I mean? Or the Portuguese route. And it'd be just like some fucking free-for-all fucking shit. Because we're shit at doing stuff like this. Come on, in Britain.
Well,
do you know what I mean? We are.
The thing is, it doesn't really do anything as well because the states like California have fucked it up. They've taxed it too much. So it's so expensive that the black market's grown even more. So because you can walk down the street smoking it, like you can't get done for it. People are buying fuckloads of really strong, potent shit for dirt cheap compared to what you can get in the store. And the crime hasn't gone anywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, the black market still exists.
Yeah, of course it does.
Because of the regulation. So it's like people are just selling. They're still growing and selling it on the lowdown just to get round paying the taxes and license fees. And stuff
That just sounds like fucking when I worked in casinos in England, and they said all of a sudden one day they said you can have tips now because you weren't allowed to get tips, and then as soon as you was allowed tips, they says, but the house is taking half of them. And it's like, it's the same kind of, do you know what I mean? It's just like, it's legal, but you have to pay fucking 10 times the price. Like,
yeah,
what
it's
the
nonsense.
fuck?
But that's just the way that it's going to go, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but the thing is,
I mean, the fact that we're the largest exporter of like weed, basically, in terms of medical marijuana in the world, but yet it's not legal here is ridiculous.
Really? What kind of strains do we grow?
Apparently, it's the most natural strain that you can grow in our soil. You know, grown in greenhouses, massive fucking greenhouses as well. There's an article.
Yeah, are they guarded like fuck?
I don't really know.
I would have thought so.
They've probably got police
like,
around them, haven't they? They keep getting raided, or they used to. I always used to see about them getting raided accidentally by the old bill and stuff. I've got a link.
But yeah,
I've dropped a.
I've
dropped a link.
I don't want to know what you've done in your living room, mate.
I've dropped a link to the NHS website and this new one. I've just done another link that's the link to the UK grows legal weed. The one before it is the NHS's official position on marijuana, cannabis. If you want to read more about it, it's quite interesting actually.
The Erman said, Doug's right, the British public don't have the psyche to deal with legalisation. There'll be even more claimers, a nation full of lazy stoners.
They'd all fail the culture test, you know what I mean?
The thing is, though,
I think just legalise it, innit, man?
You've got to look at the states, man. I mean, their economy's massive. They aren't all lazy bastards. And I don't think that's true. I don't think you get many more users. I don't think you'd get kids using.
No, I don't think so either. And does it matter anyway if it's legal? It's like what? It's all right for kids to go to Weatherspoons when they're 18, drink a load of vodka and end up on a stomach pump, but they can't go and have like a.
I think it's with smoking.
You know what I mean?
Smoking weed too young. It's not so bad. It's not bad when you're old. It's not bad. It's not bad. It's good. No. I don't know how to say.
You're conflicted, isn't it, yo?
Yeah, I am conflicted, yo, man. Fucking. I don't think it's good for the kids. Do you know what I mean? And their brain development. That's what I read somewhere. Whether that's true or not, I don't know.
Pretty well proven that you're not really supposed to do anything before you're like 24.
A glass of wine's all right, though, isn't
apparently
it?
they say it isn't.
Nah, drugs are fine for kids.
What, before you're 24?
24, something like that.
Yeah,
It's to do with your brain development, isn't it?
Yeah, I know, yeah.
But the thing is you're always...
Yeah. Sorry, I was just saying, yeah, to Herman's quote,
What
sorry.
did he say? I can't read the chat, so you'll have to tell me what
He's saying that's my point. We can't even handle drink.
I know.
I don't think it's the same thing, though, is it? It's not like everyone's going to be going to Weatherspoons and getting... Because after you've had too much of that, you're just going to have a whitey anyway, aren't you? And then that's going to put you off. But not everyone... You can't tarnish everyone with the same Carlin Black Label brush, can you? Do you know what I mean? There are some cultured people out there who...
Just because it's a plant... Just because it's a plant... and it's not meat doesn't mean to say it's got to be legal.
Actually, I'm from Stockport, where the UK's first weed cafe was. That was mad, man. Like this proper renegade, like just decided he was going to open a cafe in Stockport and just do a weed cafe, and like was proper open about it as well. It was in all the papers, the national papers, and I kept getting raided every 2 minutes, and obviously it got shut down. But that was mad. It just like you just go in and everyone was just like, I don't know, like grinding up weed and that and having a spliff, and you could get weed in the drinks and like brownies.
Did the
and
old
everything.
Bill come round?
Yeah, all the time. It got raided loads, man. It got fucking. It was some mad thing. It was like it was in
weed on you.
Well, you got arrested, didn't it, or whatever? But like, it got raided all the time, man. It was in fucking. When was it? It was like late 90s, early 2000s. Didn't last very long. It lasted like a year, maybe a year and a half. But yeah, this guy was just like a fucking madhead. It was right. It was quite close to the cop shop as well. It was like round the back of the police station. It's just like.
Do you remember
mad.
that weed factory that got raided in Plymouth like 2 or 3 years ago? And it was in where the roundabout pub is in town. You know how close that is to the old Bill? It's like it's not even 30 seconds away from the cop shop, is it? But he was doing it for years, though, right?
No.
I mean,
it's a fucking bad place to do it, man. Right under the nose, isn't it? Yeah, I'm gonna know. I think fucking legalize it. I do.
There's got to be some restrictions on it, though, man.
Yeah, but there's restrictions on alcohol. You can't just fucking go and just like.
Yeah, you can.
Well, no, you can't.
Yeah, I'm not saying. Well, there ain't no restrictions really on alcohol.
Just open a pub, can I, and just sell what I want.
Yeah, but you can't brew it a certain strength. You know what I mean? And there's different types of alcohol as well.
That's regulation.
Different types. Like
you
can sell whiskey and you can sell fucking an alcopop. Do you know what I mean? So like you've got the choice as well, not just one strain of like an alcoholic beverage.
Yeah, you can choose your tolerance.
And that would probably be what you would instill as well, wouldn't it? Like you'd have like super skunk for some mashhead that wants to get wrecked, and then you'd have some nice chilled stuff that you smoke at the end of the day.
Or solids, like natural solids.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, you'd have like, if anything, it'd be better because you'd have more variety. You'd start to see like solid and stuff like that, and fucking Thai sticks again, and it'd be like, oh, like, what are you having today, sir? I recommend the Thai sticks.
Oh, and it'd be all the fucking, you know what would happen, wouldn't it? All the fucking moustache and beard-faced people.
Downbred and roses.
Fucking like as if they're masters, that they invented the fucking thing. Do you know what I mean?
But then I guarantee you get that now anyway. In fact, I know you do. Because I worked with a couple of lads and they were cool as fuck. But one of them, he's like a proper connoisseur. He's like, oh, this is Pineapple Express. It's very tasty on top. It makes you feel very buzzy. Do you know what I mean? It's like fucking fine wine or something.
Yeah. I saw that, Godfrey. Godfrey said there are dozens of cannabis social clubs in the UK now, and police know about them and give them a pass.
Fair enough.
I was looking into it.
When we were in Ibiza, they've got them in like Spain and stuff like that. Like you go there, you can buy it there, you can smoke it there, but if you take it off, then it becomes illegal. And it's like, if you take it off the site. But, I mean, I don't see the problem in that. So bad about that.
Well, these social clubs, I looked into it. There's certain police forces as well in the country, county police forces, where they just said like, we're not pursuing people now. Just like it's not worth our time.
There's not enough of them, is there, really? They keep the old bills always going on about how there's not enough of them to like tackle knife crime and shit. So it's not like it's fucking.
I mean, I don't know what harm it's gonna do. It's just like fucking the government to make a shitload of money on it and
we'll have a good time.
Like, do you know what I mean? It might actually solve a few fucking issues to do with society. I get the psychosis things. I know loads of heads who have gone mad on it, like fucking people I'm related to as well, yeah. And there are other issues there as well. So I think it'd sort the potency out.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So
I mean, it's gonna balance itself out. You would hope with regulation. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Herman's made a couple of good points there. Go on, read them out, Dan.
At the end of the day, drugs are on this planet to be used as medicines. They're not meant to be for fun. And that's where the human race has gone wrong. Short-term binge taking, long-term addictions prove they're misused. The public in general aren't responsible enough. The prisons will just become rehab centres. But they're already rehab centres anyway.
I don't agree with that. I don't think they are supposed to be just medicines.
I think fuck it, man. Let's have a bit of fun, innit?
Like stuff like
yeah, I'm going to put my bit forward in Parliament. We just need a bit of fun.
Innit?
Just want to be free,
innit?
I disagree that
you're never going to be able to stop people misusing things, whether or not it's food, drugs, drink, whatever, man. So you can't
I agree, but then
level.
Like, why?
I agree with.
Why are cigarettes legal and why is alcohol legal? You know what I mean? To answer that.
No, I know. That's what I was gonna say. I mean, and everyone's on it all now. If they were legal, maybe less people would be.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I find that people use it more responsibly because they can take the dosage they want. Because if you buy it now, you're at the mercy of whoever you buy it off. So if they lace it, it's the same with any drug. It's like if you buy like a fucking gram of coke or whatever, you don't know what's cut with it. You're literally.
I do.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. But, it's like you're at the mercy of that person. So it's like with marijuana, there's no difference.
Neither would I, by being told.
Yeah, you are at the mercy of the what you buy in and the black market, really. I think legalization sorts that. I mean, how do you term the word medicine? You could argue that maybe just getting off your head once or twice every now and then is medicinal. I mean, let's face it, yeah, people would like drink shitloads daily, don't they, just to get through the day. You could argue that that's medicinal as well, otherwise we wouldn't do it. So I just think fucking it's a plant that grows in the ground, innit? Yeah. Just fucking regulate it, stick it out there, fucking get on with it. The whole world's fucking like pretty much up for it now. I mean, the fact that 5%, you're lucky if you got 5% in a gram of coke these days. I mean, if states in America are doing it, and quite a few states as well, like that's the most religious like backwater in the world. Like we're lagging behind in that, and I tell you what, the reason will be why it isn't is because they're getting the shit together behind the scenes, and it's going to be people like fucking what's the big pharmaceutical company, GlaxoSmithKline and all that. They're going to fucking end up selling it, and it's just going to become like some mad commodity, innit? Do you know what I mean?
It was originally.
Oh yeah, exactly. So athlete's foot powder is 100% pure. Is it? I don't even know what athlete's foot powder is. Talcum powder. I'd be interested to know what Rich's take is on cannabis being in the medical profession. I mean, people talk about it being the gateway as well, and that's just nonsense.
No, it's alcohol.
Well, they say
the gateway.
Yeah, well, we'll get on to
cigarettes
later.
Cigarettes are more of the gateway drug, which I think in my case is probably true because I think I smoked cigarettes before I drank alcohol.
Didn't exactly let your inhibitions down, does it?
Have
a fag.
But
my inhibitions have gone.
Gateway, though, isn't it? It's like you start with that, and then you go, oh, it's not so bad. I'll have a drink, and you have a drink, and you're like, oh, I quite like that. I'll do something else. Do you know what I mean? And then
I've never actually smoked a cigarette.
I'm not.
Ever.
That's just what the shit that I've been reading today and yesterday. Yeah, it suggests that it's nicotine and tobacco that's the gateway for most people. Because it's the first thing that most people try. Like, you steal one of your dad's cigarettes.
Yeah, I don't know. That's weird. I genuinely never smoked a cigarette. I've smoked weed with tobacco in it, but I've never actually smoked a cigarette. I never thought what I just couldn't be at. Didn't see the point in it. So I think alcohol's the gateway. I genuinely do.
Yeah, well, I think I think that's the big opener. You know what I mean? It's the big one that, especially like, I mean, I was drinking fucking cider with my mates in the fucking playground park
at 5
when I was 12.
Coxie was drinking cider at 5.
And I got really wet and threw up everywhere.
Should we move on to our second point?
Yeah, I was just about to do that, just after I'd taken the piss out of Coxie a little bit.
Go on then.
Drinking cider at 5. Had his first
I'm
kid
from the
at
West
6.
Country, that's what we do.
Yeah. So that we've done weed, yeah. Is there a case for decriminalization of all drugs?
That's a harder thing to get your head around, I think.
I'm just gonna go straight in, yeah, because I come in last on the last one. Like, fucking decriminalize everything, in my opinion. But like, not obviously in terms of like importing cocaine from Colombia, because you're a fucking high level criminal at that point. But in terms of people who are like addicted to crack, or you get picked up by the fucking police and you've got something in that you shouldn't have, instead of getting arrested, it should just be decriminalized, because the prisons are just fucking. Prisons are just.
I just read Rich's the Tiger Balm is a gateway drug.
Yeah,
sorry.
no, I was gonna do it in a sec. The prisons are just full of fucking people who are just fucking basically addicted to drugs. Who are just
so what
there
you're
by
saying, then decriminalise it and let dealers have their own way selling shitloads of.
No, that's not what I said, is it? I said that's pretty much the opposite of what I just said.
It is exactly the opposite.
He's got the headphones on. Does he listen?
He's always 10, 15 minutes
your
behind.
Dealers, your importers, like they're obviously they should be prosecuted for selling illegal drugs. But if you say then go out and pick up like a bag of cocaine, and then you get pulled over, or you're addicted to crack or heroin or whatever, you shouldn't be persecuted for that.
What should
happen then? What should happen?
Of course you do, yeah.
Well, that's no good, is it?
Yeah, because then you're just going to go out.
He says. A minute ago he wasn't legalizing weed. Now he's like, don't take the drugs off me. No, but that's what they do in Portugal, isn't it? It's a decriminalization. It's not everything isn't legal.
It's not just that, though, is it? I mean, it's not like they just go, "Oh, see you later," after they catch you with it. Like, they put you through rehab.
Yeah, it's a public.
What's the story though? If to make all drugs legal, that's what you're saying, yeah?
No, right, decriminalization, different thing.
Are we doing it? Hold on. Yeah, but let's take it another step. Let's say you wanted to legalize all of them. How would that work? What, do you just make it in-house, like in your own country? Do you know what I mean?
I don't
How
think
does that work? Or do you import it from like the Colombian cartels?
Yeah, right.
I mean, to be honest, I ain't got a problem if everyone wanted to legalize drugs. Like, just get on with it, innit, and regulate it. But I don't think you could ever enter into a situation where that was possible. Like,
I don't think that'd be a good idea.
Morally, it wouldn't happen. I just think decriminalization's better.
Why? Well, let the government control all of it.
Yeah.
And then that's a bit.
Go for it, man.
I would.
Nah,
yeah. I agree with Damon there that decriminalization seems the way to go, because I don't think you can really punish people for getting high. Even like, I mean, it's difficult, isn't it? Because you look at people.
Hello, Deborah.
Hello. Carry on. If you look at like heroin addicts, for instance, and like cocaine addicts and proper addicts, it's difficult to feel sorry for those, because it's, well, most of the time, because it seems like it's self-inflicted. It seems like it's not any of anyone else's business. Like, you know, it's almost like, oh, they're fuckwits, so just let them get on with it. Do you know what I mean? But if you're going to decriminalize something, you're taking a step as a society to then try and limit the damage that drugs can do to the society in general. So it's kind of like a good idea to do what Portugal did, in my opinion, because they've taken all the money they've spent on enforcing it and put it into their healthcare system, so that it's not just like get a slap on the wrist and get sent on your way. So you actually have to fucking try and stop taking the gear, rather than what we do now, which is
it's treated as a public health issue.
Yeah.
as opposed to a criminal issue. So it's like it's a shift in perspective because like thinking about crime as well. How much crime is committed?
Grime.
How much grime is written?
Yeah, grime, like Skepta. How much crime is committed as a like as an offshoot of addiction as well, in terms of like burgling houses and stuff like that. So they also get access to like methadone and stuff like that a lot easier than you would do over here. Would have thought as well.
I've just dropped a YouTube link with a video about what they do. Anyone's.
I mean, the thing with Doug hasn't said anything in the last 5 minutes.
because he's always 15, 20 minutes behind. Do you know what I
mean? The thing is as well, there's a lot more police officers coming out now and saying that they're just this whole war on drug kind of attitude. It's just like the resources that go into it. They're just like, it just doesn't make any sense. There's so many police officers now that are just saying we need to just decriminalize it and just go after the, like I said before, like the bigger players, if you like, the people who are exporting it. There's a program on it last night on Stacey Dooley did something in Costa del Sol. I saw that.
With the tobacco as well. It weren't just drugs. It was tobacco,
from Gibraltar.
From Morocco as well, isn't it? Over to Spain as well.
Yeah,
quite interesting.
It was all right. I don't really like her documentary though. They're not in depth, are they? It's just like
it's BBC Three.
This is happening in Costa del Sol.
BBC Three, so it's like snappy in and out programs.
She's nowhere near as good as Ross Kemp. I'm sorry.
I thought you were going to say she's...
No way. Ross Kemp's done some decent stuff. Do you know what I mean? He's gone into some dangerous places.
I thought you were going to say she's nowhere as good as Philomena
Grant Mitchell, though, isn't he?
I like her. I think she's fun.
Grant Mitchell goes where he wants.
Grant Mitchell.
But yeah, I think decriminalise stuff, definitely. And then it's just like, it's done then, isn't it? It seems to be working in other countries.
But again, it comes back to our mentality over here. Do you know what I mean? You know.
I don't know. I think if they made it,
well, mate, I don't know whether it's the world or just our country, but there's got to be over 50% idiots.
Yeah, but that's the same anywhere.
Yeah, probably.
That's the same.
You know what I mean? Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't know whether it's here or all over the world.
My missus is Portuguese, and she said that like they still have drug problems. You know what I mean? It's not like it just goes away. It's not.
Yeah.
I mean, when they first brought it in, the reason why they did it was because they had like hundreds of thousands of people addicted to heroin, just monging out in the street and drooling on each other and shit, and injecting playgrounds and
drooling on it.
Like literally, you can see like photos of it. It looked like it was absolute like savage Walking Dead stuff, zombieing out everywhere. And now they just don't have that anymore. And when I went there last summer, like the Portuguese like to get wrecked. No two ways about it. And they do have red light districts, especially where my missus is from. It's like a medieval town. It's absolutely beautiful. There's loads of like fucking red lights on everywhere and stuff like that. So it's not like it goes away completely.
Don't stop.
It's good.
Amsterdam.
Yeah, talking about The Wire.
Yeah, well, there's quite a few countries that have.
Where's Baltimore?
Legalized weed.
Shit.
Come on, shit.
There are quite a few countries that have taken a more liberal attitude to drug use, like France, Germany, Croatia, Czech Republic. Loads of South America, Australian states as well. Some Australian states, obviously, loads of states in America.
I mean, in Brazil, you can.
We're behind the times on this now. I think we're behind the curve. We need to just.
Yeah, but we always are in this country anyway, aren't we?
Yeah.
Fucking last to do anything, but we come up with the best bridges. We can design the best bridge.
200 years.
You know what I mean? It's not great. We've got great architects, but we haven't got forward-thinking fucking people.
200 years ago, we were the shit.
Yeah, when we ruled the world,
everyone else did what we.
I mean, it's interesting about the drugs thing. Like, have you got that list of dangerous drugs from Professor?
It is on screen now.
I mean, this is from 2010. but this is still being used in articles now. So the last article I found that used this image as a reference point was from earlier this year and late last year as well. And Professor Nutt was the drug czar, wasn't he, for the country? And then he got, I think he got sacked when he put this information out. And this basically, he's saying that alcohol's the most dangerous drug. So I just don't get my head around how alcohol's legal, but yet you look down on some of those drugs there, like mushrooms. Why is mushrooms not legal as well? I mean,
I know, yeah.
It's mad, isn't it? It's just like, what?
Okay, you sound gutty there. Why is mushrooms not legal?
Well, they were for a bit, weren't they? You could buy them in the shop wet. There was a loophole, and you could buy them in shops. Because I used to, when I first moved down here years and years ago, I used to get them from was it called Cobwebs or something?
I don't know.
There was a weird like goth shop where you could buy them, and I just used to go around tripping me nuts off in Plymouth, and just like,
yeah, but
I don't get that, man.
Yeah, alcohol's obviously a massive killer. Do you know what I mean? Massive.
When you look at that list, though,
but this takes in
compared to. I mean, there
well.
was a guy on the telly ages ago. He was a professor, of whatever, fuck knows what, something to do with drugs and alcohol, and he was saying how much more alcohol kills, and someone was saying, what about heroin? What about, and he's like, well, it's not actually the heroin that really kills you. It's an overdose. I mean, it does over time, but not as quick as alcohol rampages through your fucking liver if you're addicted to that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, alcohol.
Well, I mean, this chart takes into. Go on, you go first. I was just going to say it takes into consideration harm to others, crime, family adversities, loss of relationships, and mortality, as well as just obviously your physical and mental health. And alcohol's fucking just a clear winner. And then next it's heroin. But again, with decriminalization of heroin, how much heroin use, if it was a bit more relaxed in terms of attitudes towards it, could be moderated in the right way if it wasn't so stigmatized. Do you understand what I mean? I mean, there's loads of people who are on heroin and who live normal lives.
I used to for a little while, after the rave days and that. I used to smoke heroin every day for a few years, and I passed my test on it. I went to work in casinos for how many years, all while smoking that substance. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, it's crazy for me when you hear, because you've said that to us before. It's crazy for me to think that you could pass your driving test on it. Because for me, I've never done it, but to me, it just seems like such.
Yeah, but you get to a particular level, and it's just to feel. Yeah, it's just to feel normal, isn't it?
But it just seems like such a mental and physical impairment that you wouldn't be able to do that at all. Do you know what I mean? Even if you
and add up bets at work.
That's what I mean.
I think I guess the one thing that people talk about, because Debs has talked about kids, not in she's just saying that kids need protecting from drugs.
Yeah, well, I saw that. Yeah, I was going to say.
I think that's part of the thing that we're saying about attitudes in terms of not just drugs, but obviously alcohol is a drug, so alcohol as well. Like our attitude towards education in regards to drugs is just skewed, isn't it? That's why kids end up on the park and then I know loads of people who ended up in hospital on stomach pumps.
Yeah. I know.
Was growing up, who went to the park just downing a litre of vodka or whatever, and God knows what else, and then ended up getting mash up in it. And that's all down to education. So it's the same with sex education as well. We're just not teaching kids the right mechanisms for making informed choices. Because now that I'm a parent, do I really want my son going out getting mashed? I'm not actually sure I do, but the fact of the matter is he probably is gonna want to do something at some point, whether it's bloody alcohol, having a cigarette, or smoking weed, whatever it is. Yeah, I'd rather he was taught how to do those things.
Maybe he becomes a sex addict.
Well, that's it.
It's in the blood
are these days, though, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? But, yeah, right.
It's in the blood.
It's in the blood. Yeah, Mr. Bloody.
Mr. Overlover.
My pedo glasses on.
Deb's was saying she's got mushrooms in her back garden.
Magic ones.
Yeah, look.
Have you?
I've got magic
I'll
wands
give
in
you
my
my
garden.
address.
The shamans used to get to the upper world.
Well, they're about, aren't
Yeah,
they?
you-
So
Literally.
That's what we used to do. I can remember, right, when we was younger, yeah, we went picking some mushrooms. I think it was about 16, 17 on the fields. And we were smoking a joint, walking around, picking them. And we give a horse a blowback. Not a blowjob, a blowback.
Why?
I don't know why I didn't. My mate did. And he sucked that right up his nose and it like reared up and went, and was like, whoa, fuck.
So the RSPCA
Yeah.
will be on the phone
I
next
know.
week. Doug's revelations, this, isn't it? My internet froze when you said blowback, so I just said, we gave a horse a blow, and I'm thinking, what? You know what I mean? But yeah, that list is pretty damning, I think.
Can we have another look at it?
It's just, we should definitely.
Where is that list?
It's on screen now.
We should definitely decriminalize things.
Can you find a link, Damon? Put it in the YouTube if anybody wants to see it.
Yeah, I'll do that at the end of the program.
I mean, looking at that list, it's strange to me that ecstasy, methadone, ketamine. Well, yeah, I mean, none of them have as much crime statistic as marijuana and amphetamine. And tobacco. Tobacco's really high on that.
Yeah, because that's the smuggling, I suppose, isn't it?
I suppose.
Yeah, I suppose, getting it into the country.
Yeah, I suppose. But then, really, like smuggling tobacco more profitable than smuggling ketamine?
Yeah,
Ecstasy,
it would be, wouldn't
you can get ketamine quite easily, though, mate, because you can get it from the vets because it's used for fucking tranquilizing
What about
animals
LSD
and
and
stuff.
ecstasy?
It's also used in hospitals.
What about
Say
LSD
again?
and ecstasy?
Well, ecstasy mainly comes from Europe, so it's probably easier to get in. So that's why
But
it's
then where do
probably
the fags come from?
small number. The fags, I don't know. Tobacco's an interesting one because there's still a massive black market on tobacco. So
the two most. Hold on, what's that? Crack cocaine is obviously a bit worth. Methamphetamine, which we don't get a load of in this country, but alcohol is top of the list for health and damage.
Well, yeah, it's the top of
mental impairment and top of the list for community fucking.
community,
you know what
economic,
I mean?
and environmental.
It's got
costs.
the most. Yeah,
but that's because we don't really rehabilitate anybody.
See that?
I suppose there is a lot more help available for alcoholics than there is heroin addicts. I would imagine so.
I don't know, I don't know if there's a lot of help for any of these things, is there? Plus, as well, the stigma.
Yeah.
The thing is with this list that needs taken into consideration as well, because this was 2010, the potency of drugs has gone up exponentially. So you're getting a lot more deaths from ecstasy and like drugs like that as well now that you weren't getting before. So a lot of kids are dying from Mandy as well. Just from overdosing in terms of not sort of regulating how much they take in relation to how potent the drugs are, which again, it sort of stems down to education, innit, in terms of like people not getting mashed up on things. There's those kids in Plymouth that died in the nightclub, weren't there?
Yeah, that was white heroin, wasn't it, or something?
No, that was
fentanyl, wasn't it?
That was them who went abroad.
Those lads were from down there as well, weren't they?
They bought what they thought was cocaine, and it was heroin or.
No, it was fentanyl.
Well,
isn't it the same thing?
It weren't.
It's still an opioid, isn't it?
No. Yeah, but it's
sympathized.
Sympathized.
I didn't say sympathized.
Really sorry.
No, I said that.
All right. I'm just so used to people trying to take the piss on the podcast. So I didn't say it. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like fucking, yeah, that list is pretty shocking. What do you reckon's worse then for addiction wise? Do you reckon, because this is another thing that's come out recently, say over the last 5 years. What do you reckon's worse addiction wise, legal drugs or illegal drugs? Because obviously you've got the opioid epidemic in America and stuff.
So what
like
you're saying?
that.
What's more? Did you say?
What do you reckon's
worse?
worse?
I think the problem with the States and their opioid crisis was those were prescription drugs that you could get really easily and really comparatively safely. You know what I mean? Like if you go up to a dealer.
Yeah, and then they got stopped, didn't they? Basically, so you have a fucking back problem that you get given these fucking opioids for 6 months because you got chronic back pain. Then the doctor says, "Oh, I think you'll be all right now," and they just stop it like that.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, you're like, "I need some opium of some sort." So you go and score it illegally, and then you get onto that fentanyl stuff, don't you? Which is like can kill. Even the smallest amount can kill someone who's never touched it before. Do you know what I mean?
Potent, strong.
Yeah.
But I think the problem that I watched a documentary about it, which is pretty good. It's called The Pharmacist, Netflix. Which is really good actually. About a bloke that basically takes big pharma on and stuff like that over fentanyl. What's the other one as well? Fentanyl and something else.
I don't know. There's loads of the synthesized opioids. There's fucking quite a few of them.
What the doctors,
that's a good point.
What the doctors were doing they were basically drug dealers, and they were acting like drug dealers. They weren't actively giving out drugs to help people. They were giving out drugs because they were making fuckloads of money from it.
I've heard about this. Yeah, they got bonuses and stuff.
They got incentives from the company that make it. I think there's something to do with DuPont.
Yeah, no, I've seen that before. Deb's made a good point. The drugs they are filling everyone with are worse, which is kind of what we're talking about. She said kids with ADHD, antidepressants, and Godfrey's gone Ritalin. Remember when I've taken Ritalin before, and mate, the fact that they give that to kids, man, fuck me, it knocked my head off. I was like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
But the other thing is as well on that point, because I have this condition called trigeminal neuralgia, and when it flares up, the only thing that can stop the pain is anticonvulsant medicine called carbamazepine. And mate, that shit's legal, and that fucks you up. It mashed me up honestly for like 6 months. I didn't even have an argument with anyone. Completely fucking knocked me off my feet. It was horrible. I remember talking to people who've got epilepsy, and I was like, "What drugs are you on?" And I said I was on carbamazepine, and like, "Oh, we don't go near that one because that's one of the worst ones." So these things are all fucking legal that you can just get from the doctor and fucking put in your body. And I think they probably are worse, man. They're fucking you up in it. Like I've said, if my thing comes back, which it will do because I've had it a few times in my life, I'm just going to get fucking weed and just see if it takes the edge off it. Because taking fucking synthesized drugs for conditions, I think it's fucked up, man.
What do you have to do in order to qualify? Maybe Rich could answer it.
I've done that.
What do you have to do in this country to qualify for medical marijuana as a treatment?
I'm not sure.
Because surely, if it's got all these qualities and stuff, pain relief, because they give it to cancer patients, don't they, to like help them eat and stuff. So
I think so.
What do you have to have in order to? Do you have to have cancer in order to get medical marijuana? And if it's anything less than that, why don't they give it out more readily available when it's pretty much a I don't think it's a non-addictive drug, but it's a psychologically addictive drug rather than a physically.
What? Cannabis.
Whereas and it doesn't really.
There's no physical.
No, it's not physically. I don't think it's not addictive though, is it?
They say it's a psychologically addictive drug.
Like habitual, innit?
So you get used to smoking it, and then you're like, "Oh, I really want to smoke."
There's no withdrawal from it though, really, is there?
Godfrey's saying that you have to put a case to your GP.
I do, yeah.
So I've seen news reports, and I don't think every one of them was like cancer based. I think people with epilepsy or even cases of like what I was describing,
pain,
like
well.
just pain, chronic pain, in this country, stuff like that.
I know it's in the States.
Yeah, in this country.
Yeah, they get the what's it, the oil stuff, don't they? They're like pure form.
I know they give that to.
Yeah, you can get it in smokable form as well.
Yeah.
can't say this. I can't remember what it was on. It was like on Newsnight or something. This woman got it sent to her in the post, and it was all like sealed up and packaged and that. And she was like, "Fucking, it's like She said how much it was. It was fucking well expensive, man.
That's the problem.
Like I was just thinking, you'd just be better off just fucking going to your dealer or
That's
whatever.
What I'm saying. Like, if you are going to decriminalize these drugs, you have to make them. Legalize them.
Accessible.
You're going to legalize marijuana, something like that. You'd have to make it affordable for people, because if you charge too much for it, you're just going to drive them to black market. It's difficult, isn't it? Because you could make fuckloads of money out of it tax-wise. Sorry to go back a topic, but it's just interesting that there's drugs that they'll give people that are really damaging. I don't know. It's difficult because what's worse, the pain or the drug that they give you? Do you know what I mean? Because if they give you Oxycontin or something like that and your pain's gone, they've done their job to a certain extent, haven't they? But then who's responsible for picking up the pieces if you get addicted to?
How long do you take it for as well? I mean, I was just like, when I was on carbamazepine, I was just like, I'm going to have to try and come off it. And then you're thinking, am I going to have like more convulsions and stuff like that? So I just got off it and it was fine. But I was thinking, because that's another thing as well, the anxiety keeps people on the drugs, innit? It's not that sometimes not even the pain, it's like the fear of having pain, innit?
Yeah.
Come back. So it's
the same as withdrawing off heroin.
Yeah, I don't doubt.
Can imagine.
Exactly the same. Do you know what I mean? Waiting for it to kick in. One more.
Rich has seen his ass, innit? Because we're not reading his thighs out.
He was upsetting Deborah.
What's he said?
He's saying, what did he say? He said it's exhausting Western meds. What's exhausting it?
No.
I don't know.
No, all Western meds are ineffective.
All right. And then he said, Western meds are ineffective. He's saying Western meds are shit,
what,
basically. Treating, presumably.
Treating pain.
Maybe you should say medicine shit.
It's treating pain, isn't it?
Western medicine.
I think he might.
Yeah.
I don't want to speak for him, but maybe it's treating pain, because that was the documentary that was on about the pharmacist. That's what they talk about. They don't have anything for pain. Like, you go to them and go, "Oh, my arm hurts." Like, fuck, I can't do anything because it hurts so much. They can't give you anything. So that's why they were giving Oxycontin and stuff like that.
The other thing with stuff as well is like, it's just dead easy, isn't it, to just give people a box of pills as opposed to say, you know what, maybe we should try some physio or
meditation in some sort, or what Deborah was saying.
Yeah, I mean,
or stretching.
Yeah, I've got rheumatoid arthritis.
Yoga, innit?
Chronic pain, something that I struggle with a lot. And as much as they give me Glumamab for it. That's what I'm saying. It's like sometimes it does get so bad that I can't really do anything. I've had it when I was younger. I couldn't stand up, but I couldn't lie down because it was too painful to do either. And it was just.
So you bloated.
Literally, I did. I did what we have been saying. I went to my dealer and then I drifted away into as much unconsciousness as I could stomach.
Just out of curiosity, does smoking weed help your condition?
It makes me feel less pain and it loosens my neck. My neck has been the worst. It used to be my back and it used to be my legs, like my hips in particular. Used to be it used to feel like I had pins and needles all the time. And smoking weed back in the day when I was younger did alleviate that. In more recent times, I don't suffer with much pain apart from my neck, which is agony. Is always agony, it's hurting right now. And times that I have smoked it recently, it does loosen me up and it does feel a hell of a lot better. But it only lasts for as long as, it lasts. It's not like a constant thing. Smoke it, it's better as soon as you stop and you don't feel the effects anymore. It goes back to hurting like that. So it's different.
But what about maybe you should try meditation,
yoga, innit?
Well, it's funny, I was talking about this with my missus earlier about meditation, and I meditated the once, right?
Only once, though. Only once. Never again.
A few times, and I tried to get myself into this like psychedelic state. I was meditating for a good 20, I don't know how long, an hour it felt like, and I went into this mad meditation. Anyway.
All right. So when you were
night,
meditating, you went into a mad meditation. Fair enough. Good point.
Yeah, that night, right? Yeah, get this. That night, went to sleep. Halfway through the night, 3 o'clock in the morning, whatever, I had this feeling of being drawn out of bed, being sucked, and my body was rising above myself, and I could feel myself looking back at myself. And you could say, yeah, it's sleep paralysis, but what happened was it felt like I pulled myself back, bounced off the bed, woke up, and my missus next to me woke up at exactly the same point. And I said, did you feel that as well? And she'd experienced the same thing
Aliens.
that I did. And
aliens.
Yeah, right. And what I think is I'd meditated and I'd properly meditated, but with no instruction from like a guru of some. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. You have to be careful meditating.
You gotta watch that shit. That shit will get you abducted by aliens.
You have to know what you're doing. You know what I mean? You have to know where you're going or what you're doing, because there could be some nasty little entities out there.
I have meditated. I've meditated a lot, actually, fast. And
you're not doing it right.
I haven't even begun to describe what went on, but yeah, all right, I didn't do it right. I've had a lot of sleep paralysis in my time, a lot, and it's fucking terrifying.
Yeah, sleep paralysis is scary, man. When I used to be off my head on drugs, I used to get it all the time.
I used to get it a lot when I was younger, when I used to go clubbing and do certain things.
The thing about the meditation is meditating is good. Like, that's why I liked doing yoga when I did it for a short while, because you just, once you've done the yoga, you're like in the right mind to meditate at the end. But I've got a busy mind. I can't switch my mind off half the time. But there was one occasion where I properly just like went into the meditation, and mate, like, there's so much stuff going on. There's like a whole other world out there. Do you know what I'm saying? It was weird, man. Yeah. Like, yeah, I think you're right, man. You do have to be fucking careful with that shit, you know, because you could just end up. I was like, mate, I can't even explain what it was like. It was just like I was in a place where I wasn't present in this world, but I was in our world, a different realm. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was fucking crazy. I was like, this is decent. And then it was like, the yoga instructor was like, you need to come back now. And I'm like, thinking to myself, I don't want to go back. I want to stay here, innit? And then I come back and went work. I farted in yoga as well. That was well embarrassing.
You was meditating into the at the yoga class.
Yeah, well, they say that yoga is about getting.
Was it a guy yogaist?
It's a woman.
I thought maybe he was getting raped.
What?
I think I would know about
Where'd
that.
Where'd you get that from?
Mate. Like, yeah, I don't know where you get this stuff from. But yeah, man, I farted in yoga.
I know loads of people do, though, apparently.
It was embarrassing, though. I'm in this yoga class, yeah. I'm the only guy in there, yeah. And I do a yoga move, and I just let out like a Harley Davidson ripper, innit? I was like, shit, man. Oh, shit. No, but it sounded top. But yeah, definitely think there's some value to yoga. Maybe you could do yoga and smoke weed at the same time.
I used to do yoga a lot when I was doing my wall climbing and stuff. But I haven't done that in years. That was the only thing that really found a big relief from all of my pain, was when I was pushing my body a lot and, like, you know, bouldering every day and shit like that, which is strange. But that seemed to be the only real thing that made lasting. Like, I didn't have pain for like a year and I wasn't taking anything. I was just exercising a hell of a lot and eating better. But I've slipped back into eating shit and not exercising. Well, apart from doing the odd push-up.
Rock climbing's good.
I really love it. It's just
rock climbing's good for you.
I can't seem to find the time to do it. I don't have the money to do it. Fucking expensive.
You can't find the time.
Because it's.
I know, yeah, you ain't got a job, innit? Mate, you could be doing all this shit that, like, Deb's like, go to the woods and do some fucking yoga. You could be doing that. You could be climbing.
I'm on lockdown at the minute.
Like Rich said, try it naked, like
I
Yoga
have done it
Bear.
before.
Yogi Bear.
Back in the day, I've done all kinds of crazy shit just to try and.
Loves a picnic basket. I mean, that was a good cartoon, Yogi. Bear. What was it? Was it Yoga Bear?
Yogi the Bear.
It's not never on anymore,
What was
is it?
Yogi
the
and
Ranger,
Boo
wasn't it? What was the
Boo
Ranger?
Boo.
Boo, that was it.
Hey, boo boo.
Cyril Snare.
Cyril Snare.
Cyril Smith.
Oh, that was the raccoons, isn't it? Right, final.
Yeah.
And then the final thing is like with drugs as well. There's some funny shit you can get high on, isn't it? Like have you seen the one the reindeer piss you can drink?
No.
Reindeer piss.
Yeah, you can get mashed up on drinking reindeer piss.
That ain't the one they had with that SAS guy, is it?
Which one?
You know, when they went to remember he done that trip in the boat across. You know the SAS guy with the black hair who does the
Ant Middleton.
Ant Middleton. He did a series where he was captain of a little boat, wasn't he?
Oh, I saw that.
Don't know who you're on
to do
about.
with Blythe.
Yeah, they done Blythe.
Yeah, it was cast like adrift pretty much in a fucking little
That's
boat.
it, yeah. And they
oh yeah, they got on the island with the indigenous people.
yeah, and they got like on the ayahuasca or whatever the hell it was.
They got mashed up, didn't they?
Deb, want to say one more thing on getting high? Go on.
Someone just say nutmeg.
I don't matter. Steve.
Yeah, nutmeg. Yeah, that was the next thing I was going to say. But
you
yeah,
get
reindeer piss.
Yeah,
Tell
yeah.
me about reindeer piss.
Yeah, you can get reindeer. Well, it's not actually. The reindeers eat a type of mushroom, and then the psychoactive ingredient comes out in the piss. So you can drink the piss, and people have done it, and wouldn't recommend it, to be honest, drinking anyone's piss. I've drank my own piss before a few times, but don't need to do that. Fuck me, going on a tangent. The other one is nutmeg as well. You can get mashed up on nutmeg.
Can you?
Yeah, I don't know. I only come across this today, but apparently you can get fucked up on nutmeg. I don't know. It's not meant to be good for you. I'll quickly Google it now.
Tried smoking oregano when I was a kid.
Did it taste like pizza?
No, it just burnt the shit
You
out
just
your
reminded
throat.
me of a time when I was in school, and this kid was like, "Oh, can you sell me drugs?" I wasn't a drug dealer at all, but I was like, "Yeah, all right, yeah, I think I could probably get you some." So we rolled up like a fucking ape's worth of fucking oregano and thyme and shit like that, and sold it to him for like 50 quid. It was class. Carry on.
Did you ever smoke banana skins?
No, could never.
I did. Never did anything, man.
Does it work?
Yeah,
They dry it out and all that. No. So research on nutmeg intoxication is sparse. There are a handful of studies and case reports on some of the dangerous side effects. Apparently, it dates back to the 1500s. It causes nausea, dizziness, heart palpitations, dry mouth, and it puts you in a trance-like state. That's me fucking raiding the cupboard before I go
that
to bed.
sounds hideous,
Yeah.
man.
It
That
does,
does sound
doesn't
pretty
it?
Yeah.
Herman's just said, remember when you pissed yourself on camera? I do. I do. And feel free to put the footage out because I don't give a shit about
Do
that
it.
kind of stuff.
Send it to us. We'll put it out.
I mean, going back to the actual seriousness of the conversation, I guess one of the biggest issues in society now is like the knock-on effect of like the so-called legal highs, isn't it? So now it's just like fucking all the spice and all that that's fucking rampant.
I was going to say that earlier actually about, okay, you got all these drugs that have been around for ages like heroin, cocaine, marijuana, weed, whatever. And they do kind of come out the ground, don't they, to a point. But then you got all this synthetic shit that's going around that's fucking made to make your grass grow or whatever, fertilizer.
Yeah.
And it's just all blended together to make some fucking weird thing that really does fucking not just mess you up like normally, like normal drugs do, but more.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like literal poison. Do you know what I mean? I know all drugs can be poison as such. Maybe not weed, but do you know what I mean? It's like just, I was going to take some of this fertilizer, fuck it,
It's
some
crazy
bleach.
how people were like, I need to get high so much, I might just do a line of this horse tranquilizer and see what happens, or you know what I mean? It is crazy how fucked up people can get just to get fucked up.
I think spice is the one. though. It's just like when you go to like places like Manchester now, and they're just off their heads in the streets.
Oh man,
people,
that gig we played.
It's fucking scary, man. They're like zombies.
Yeah, my mate had some by mistake. He smokes weed, and he said some lad give him like the end of a fag or whatever, end of a joint. He thought it was weed. He had a couple of drags, and he was walking home. It was about another mile or so to get home. He said he just went on to this mad, like, trippy para thing. Didn't even know what the fuck was going on. Do you know what I mean?
Crazy what
fuck that.
You know, the like when we were in Manchester. Remember when we had those lads in Piccadilly Square or whatever it is?
Oh God, he had a hole in his face.
He had a hole in his
guy.
face like this big. You could see his teeth through his fucking hole. Don't you
Did
remember?
Yeah, man. When we rounded the corner after we'd been to the takeaway with Mal, and then it's like them two guys asked us for some change, and it's just like the guy had a fucking hole in his face. It was fucking crazy. It was like, man, I ain't never seen anything like that before. Like the Piccadilly has always been a little bit rough and everything, yeah. But when we went up there last time, I was just fucking shocked at how bad it was. It's like when they were they had the food stations out, and it was just overrun with people trying to get food, and then everyone was just like, there was people just monged out in the middle of the floor, fucking high on the spice and everything. It was just, it's fucking
it was
crazy,
mad as well,
bro.
that one, because we had a gig there. Was it the January we had a gig, and it was kind of like, it wasn't that big a deal, was it? I mean, obviously Manchester's had the homeless problem for ages, but it was like, it wasn't that big a deal. It was obviously there was people on the street, but it wasn't that visible. We went back a month later, and that's when we saw all the spice heads and all like the soup kitchens. It was weird, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was very. I found it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
It's sad as well, because Manchester is obviously a rough northern city, but it looked prettier than it did the last time we were there, if you know what I mean. Like, it looked like a nicer place in the January than it did in the February, which is insane. In the space of a month for it to change so much. Yeah.
I used to spend a lot of time in town, honestly. Like, I would rather go to town and go to Stockport. And it just looks like a completely different place. It's definitely gone downhill. It's a shithole. Like, it's full of fucking people monged out in the street off their heads on spice, and it ain't a fucking pleasant environment to be in at all.
Does anybody know what it's like now?
I should imagine it's the same. I would have thought.
Yeah. Because obviously they've done a lot. Well, they've been trying to get people off the street as much as possible here, haven't they? But it's kind of like, how do you deal with that up there with the whole lockdown thing? Because there's fucking hundreds, if not thousands, of people in Piccadilly Square that second time. Nuts.
Well, there was areas outside, just on the outskirts of Manchester, where you had little conurbations of people living in tents, but like, you know, like you would see a favela. Like, my mate would say, go for a run, and it's just like, he'd have to run through a favela of tents. So... yeah, man. Like they'll still be there, won't they? But they said, I read a report today that said there's a lot of addicts now that can't get the drugs because the dealers aren't as out as they would be. So there's a whole like problem with people not being able to get hold of being able to get older drugs. I mean, Rich has said he doesn't ever remember Manchester being that bad for homelessness 30 plus years ago. I'd agree with him, man. It literally, to me, that's something that's happened in the last 5 years. And it's all, that spice thing is fucking mad. I've seen them on the programs. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Madness.
They look like often. That's why when my mate told me about it, I'd seen those videos. I was like, oh, mate, you must have felt like shit because he ate stuff like that. I mean, do you know what I mean? I was like, it was funny
crazy,
though.
Yeah, well, your mate's story.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't think I find it funny if someone fucking gave me, if I ended up taking spice back.
But it was funny when he told me. Do you know what I mean?
I don't know. I mean, that's an epidemic, that though, isn't it?
Yeah, that's crazy.
the way that it's run through the prisons as well and everything. I don't know how they'll even get a grip on that.
No, I don't know. There's no easy answer to it.
I don't even know where it comes from.
No, I don't. It just seems to have been. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm very well schooled on drug culture, but it just seems to have come from nowhere. What was that alligator one? What, alligator or something? And it was like rotting people's limbs off and shit. And it was a big problem in Europe.
No, that's crank, isn't it? That what is it? Yeah, it's big in Russia, isn't it?
I mean, that's fucking nuts. Like, why would you ever take that?
Yeah. Yeah. I saw a documentary of it in Russia. Yeah, I think who mentioned that earlier? Was it
Nick,
Godfrey or Herman?
Yeah, Nick mentioned it.
Yeah.
I think that's mad. I think you've probably got a few other issues going on if you feel like you need to take something that's going to fuck you up like that. The thing is with the spice, though, I don't think it's as simple as saying if weed was legal, there wouldn't be such thing as spice, because it is a synthesized version of marijuana, but the effects are completely different, and that it's more addictive because of the effects.
Yeah.
The kind of people that it reels in is people who are trying to fucking get away from something. So if you're in prison and you take this thing, you're out your fucking box for like 5 or 10 minutes, but it feels like a lifetime.
Yeah, but it was legal though to begin with, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was.
And cheapish chips, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was around the bath salt time, wasn't it? When you could get bath salts in the thing, innit? So I don't know, man. It's fucking crazy.
Hasn't it? Richie's saying it's been around for years, has it?
I don't know.
Maybe
it has.
Something else.
I don't know.
Mutated it into.
It's synthetic weed.
It was
That's what it is.
It's been around for a while, but it's been morphed again.
Old Spice.
That's a good one. The effects of spice isn't the same as weed, though. It's not exactly the same. You don't. It's like you go into like a catatonic state, don't you? It's more probably similar to fucking going in a KO or something.
Yeah.
You're just fucking not with it.
That stuff's messed up.
I ain't seen anyone like that fucking from smoking weed. Do you know what I mean?
But then the difference between like a normal high and a fucking like a super skunk, different. You know what I mean? Like a really strong potent marijuana is going to be different than normal, or as.
What, like Pepe Le Pew? But I don't know. I think that probably concludes my input. Sure. One question, So, on the whole, right? Should we legalize drugs? Yes or no?
I say we should legalize marijuana and decriminalize everything else for a healthcare first system like this. Portugal.
What about you?
Yeah. I mean, they should legalize marijuana. I don't know whether they should have it to the extent of like Holland though and stuff. I don't know, because it's fucking strong as fuck. Some of it, it's like fucking really strong.
They've also got.
You must be able to get weaker versions.
Yeah, obviously you can. Yeah.
I suppose everyone's temptation is to go for the strong stuff.
But not everybody drinks whiskey every day.
Maybe not though. If everyone, I know. I was just going to say that as well. I was just thinking that. Yeah, I know. Maybe if you educate, there's got to be the right education in place, and everything's got to be. You can't just be like tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
I would love it all to be like that, but everything needs to be. You need to educate the kids and that, don't you? Really?
I think you
do you know
still
what I
need
mean?
age restrictions like with cigarettes. I don't think it should be like outside of their age.
Legalize and regulate cannabis
and educate
ecstasy,
as well.
And
I
think that probably a bit of two ones.
What about mushrooms?
I don't know. Hallucinogenics are an interesting one because you can argue that there's a case for people to maybe try hallucinogenics at least once to see what it does to them in terms of in a controlled environment. I mean, there's a lot of experiments going into.
We've already been there, Rich.
There's alcohol is off the scale compared to everything else. There's a lot of testing going into microdosing of mushrooms, but the problem with mushrooms is, I don't know how you could make an hallucinogenic legal to the point of which someone can get off the head, and then what if they just decide to get in a car and drive?
Well,
I know that's the same with anything, but hallucinogenics are different, aren't they, man? Like, fucking the fact that someone can drive off their heads on alcohol is scary enough.
If you look at Brazil, they've got ayahuasca, which is obviously.
I tried that once; it didn't work.
What?
Tried
ayahuasca.
what?
I tried to. No, sorry. Tried the cactus. What's it called? Mescaline or
Masculine.
whatever. Yeah. It didn't work. We just had a cactus.
Got a bit of masculine once. Didn't really go well.
It
became a vegan
I
instead.
didn't like it.
It wasn't old enough. Just fucking. It was just basically ate this fucking cactus and sat there waiting to fucking feel like we were.
If you look at, my point was in Brazil, you can legally buy ayahuasca if it's for religious purposes. Now, how do you prove it's religious purposes and not just get high? But then ayahuasca is more potent. It's more of a like serious trip thing. Like shamans and shit administer it, don't they?
I know it's tricky because my mate wanted to drive a motorbike the once with no helmet, so we tried to say he was a Hindu. You know what I mean? He didn't have to wear a crash helmet.
That's crazy.
It's just the same.
Exactly the same.
You know,
Exactly the same.
I know it's I know. It just popped into my head that did.
Just before
anyway,
we start to wrap it up here, because there's a bit of a lag, so I'll just ask this question so we'll get it in the comments. What do people want us to talk about in upcoming podcasts? Yeah. So put your comments in the chat. And then we'll start.
While we're waiting for that, shall we play the video we put out a day or two ago, and talk about the next music video and stuff like that?
Yeah, if you. Oh yeah, because we want footage, don't we? Yeah, do that because I need.
So I'll just play this video. It's like a minute long, so hopefully you got enough time. But we'll just that shit.
What does "Doug, do you need a 50p" mean?
I don't know.
Do you need 50p?
Yeah.
50p? I don't know. Play the video.
Got a new tune, brand new one. Yeah, no one's heard it. We want to do a music video, but obviously everyone's on lockdown, innit? So we thought that'd be a good opportunity, to get people to send us their video footage from lockdown. Yeah, empty streets, desolation, weirdness. All you need to do is get your phone out, do a little bit of a film, when you're out doing your daily exercise. Make sure you don't break the rules because Boris will come for you. We transfer it, info@malthusiantrap.co.uk, and we'll include it in our video to our new single that's coming out in a few weeks. So just to recap, get out and about, do your daily exercise, take a bit of video wherever you live, London, Buxton, Manchester, New York, wherever, Send it to us, info@malthusiantrap.co.uk, and we'll put it in our music video. Nice one. Wow.
There you go.
Oh, was that it? Where's he
For a
gone?
piss.
Oh, was
So,
it? Oh, I didn't know you was playing that video.
I just thought I just dropped it in there because we're on the hunt for some footage, aren't we?
Yeah. No one's put in the comments what they would like us to talk about
We'll
next
just
week.
give them a chance to catch up. Or if we don't get any comments, we'll be chatting about it on Facebook next week. So if you've got any topics that you don't get a chance to write to us tonight about, just send it on Facebook. But yeah,
there is a topic.
Like Doug said, we haven't had any comments yet.
Is that?
Where? Nonsense.
No, I thought he was calling us nonsense. You know what he's like.
Nah, I think we could do a crime special, innit, where we look at like Madeleine McCann and stuff. But
well, we'll see.
Don't know. I'm not a massive fan of the nonsense. For your electric meter.
Oh, is it because he's sitting in darkness? Yeah. I said it to him earlier, mate. You're a bit dark. But yeah, anyway, we want some footage.
Yeah,
Damon's albums. Thriller. The footage. Yeah, we need footage for the video.
Yeah, so we got a new tune coming out. Yeah.
Yeah, brand new tune. It's not even on the EP. It's like literally brand new. And we want people to send us footage from lockdown of like where you live, empty streets and all that. So, have you done all this?
No, we was waiting for you to come back.
You just didn't. Yeah. So yeah, if you could send us your footage, even if you just go out with your camera, just take a bit of footage on your camera, 10 to 20 seconds long, so we can use a snippet of it or whatever, and then you can send it to us on email to info@malthusiantrap.co.uk.
Via WeTransfer.
Yeah, by WeTransfer, and then we're going to put all the footage in a video somehow. We're not sure what it's going to look like yet, but we'll deal with that once we start getting footage. That'd be decent. Bestiality. You want us to talk about bestiality?
Well, 2 hours.
Fuck, man. Doug already did that today. He said fucking he'd give a horse a blow.
I reckon we can string that out to an hour and a half at least. But yeah, send us your footage if you've got any footage.
Yeah. Should we wrap it up now?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it. But nice one for tuning in. Legalize the herb. We'll see you later, innit?
So we're gonna
thanks everyone for staying online as well.
Thanks for tuning in, staying online. We're gonna play Bitter Ends off Culture Test to play us out. Which is obviously still streaming on Spotify and whatnot. Check it out. See you later.
See you later, everyone.
See you later. Cheers.
To the breach, dear friends, once more we stand on golden shores. This is where we stand in this world of bitter ends. This is my entry. Raised in separation, serious situations. Raised in separation, curious situations. Raised in separation, curious situations. Once more into the breach, dear friends. Once more. You've been listening to Through the Trapdoor podcast with the Malthusian Trap. Now go find us on social media. Join the mailing list at malthusiantrap.uk.